I pulled out the Demogorgon.
And we all ran like hell.
The Demogorgon.
I'm so glad you guys like ran. That's why I was like, I figured you would run, but I think Josh looked kind of hesitant. All right. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome,
Comically
everybody.
Gaming, episode 145, the E3
145.
extravaganza.
E3.
Extravaganza.
The extravaganza.
Now, if you all wonder where we were at last week, we were plotting and waiting for the moment to strike and preparing for E3. That is why we didn't really last week.
Absolutely. 24/7.
24/7 video games. That's all we do. We don't do anything else. We don't repair electrical. We don't. But I digress. So, as most of you know, unless you don't listen to video game podcasts or play video games, there was a little conference that happened in Los Angeles this past couple of days called E3.
E3.
And by far, of all the press conferences that were there, Devolver gets the award for best press conference of E3, hands down.
The GCandC coveted award.
Coveted award. If you haven't seen the Devolver Digital,
it's must watch.
It is a must watch.
It's must watch for sure. It's funny, Jeff. Corey hit me up and he's like, "Did you watch it yet?" It wasn't even on my radar. I was gonna watch like Ubisoft and Squaresoft, but Devolver Digital wasn't on my radar. And I forgot how crazy their stuff was last year. And when Corey was like, "Did you watch it?" He's like, "Make sure not to watch it with the kids." And like for him to say that, like that piqued my interest. I was like, "What is he talking about?" You know. So I had to go throw it on. And holy shit, like it was incredible that they were as raw as they were. I mean, that was like if you hired Quentin Tarantino to direct your E3 press conference. That's what they did.
That's awesome.
And, you know, what's funny is when you had posted it in Discord, and like, you gotta watch this. I'm like, okay. So I was up here, and I was like, cool. And it was almost bedtime, so it was almost get bath and get ready for bed. And so I start playing it, and it opens up, and I'm like looking like, oh crap, listening to see someone running up, a little kid, 6-year-old, seeing that.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, they must have said fuck 17,000 times.
Oh my God.
And then on top of that, they made it look like a Nintendo Direct. Like they purposefully had the little doot 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 noises in the background and the fonts and all this stuff. Like they were absolutely making fun of Nintendo Directs. Like after I watched that, I was like, oh my God, Nintendo's not going to let them put games on their console anymore after this. Like it was so hardcore. It really blew me away how hardcore it was. I didn't think it was possible in something like this.
I was kind of shocked that it was that violent.
I definitely was. I definitely was. Yes.
Like, wow.
And you're a sailor, right?
Yeah. I was going to say, and the theme that I don't know if we want to spoil the theme of it. The theme for the opening, I was watching, I was like, I've seen this before.
Right.
This looks really familiar. And at first, they had me believing that the lady in it was the CEO of Devolver. I was like, wow, the CEO she's pretty just right up in your face.
I think that is.
Oh, it's an actress.
That's real. Is it?
Well, yeah, they said it was an actress. They gave her credit, but it was someone else. But
I'll have to look that up.
It was so good.
Because she's been in them in the past also. That's why I thought like, she's a face for them now. Yeah. But really great. Devolver Digital. And then the one thing that I forgot to put it in our list of games we're going to talk about, Carry On. Yeah. Of the games that they have, that one looks really awesome. I thought.
Interesting because isn't that the one with the horror game in reverse?
It's like a blob.
But it's a horror survival game, but it's reverse. You are the creature.
surviving on the people or
survival
whatever.
on the people and getting through mazes and stuff. It looked really cool, and I could see it working perfectly for the Switch.
Yeah, totally,
awesome.
Definitely. I just thought like the motion in it looked so creepy and like a horror movie monster.
And the lighting.
I mean? Yeah.
Screams
really
and the sounds. Yeah.
Really great.
I didn't watch the Microsoft one because I heard it was super long. I got the gist of it.
So, can I talk about the Microsoft one for a while? It just I think most people who would actually watch Comically Gaming all the time know enough about this. But just to kind of tee it up a hair, like this is the year that Sony decided not to show up, and then Microsoft said that this was the year they're going to talk about their new console. So honestly, like that's what we were all looking forward to going into their presentation, is what's the next Xbox, what any bit of details or whatever that they would give out, and they barely talked about it until the end. They did have a ton of great games, right? And we got the list of games that we'll talk about later. But as far as like, I don't know, this was their opportunity to sell me an Xbox for next generation. Mm-hmm. And they totally did not at all. There was nothing about that made me think, okay, I want an Xbox next generation, or I would even consider it. You know what I mean? Waiting instead of Sony's box, and they just didn't do it. Like the games, there was lots of awesome games in that, but most of them were third party that are going to be on the PlayStation also. And honestly, everybody has said for years that Microsoft is the Halo Xbox or Halo Gears games, that's all they have, and it still is.
Yeah.
Like. You know, I know they bought all the studios last year, and you can't expect a studio to come up with something worth showing in a year. Like it's going to be another like 2 or 3 years before we really see those studios games. But even then, like just hype me on the Xbox. Like they didn't hype the reel that they showed when they talked about the new Xbox was a bunch of 50-year-old executives who are not gamers on the level of the people that tune in for this shit. You know what I mean? And they're just talking about stats and stuff. It was a huge miss, I thought, as far as that goes. Like,
well, I caught part of it. I caught part of it was they were the biggest thing they tried to hype up was the new Elite controller.
Yeah, that had its own little trailer.
And I could give a fuck.
I think it's cool.
It's cool, but I'm not spending that much money for a controller. That
I'm not either, but I'm okay with it. Like I see that, but they spent more time on that than the next Xbox. And the next Xbox, they did say holiday next year, so there is a date. Like it is real. It's going to come out in 2020. They said it, but they just did nothing to hype me on it.
They said it's going to have a solid state drive.
I'll get a Stadia before I get a fucking Xbox.
That is not the case for me at all. The Xbox at least has games on them.
I hate Xbox.
So why do you hate it?
So I think the biggest.
Wait, why do you hate it?
I hate that stupid green color they use. I hate the fucking controller. I hate all of it.
I don't like the controller that much.
I like Xbox.
I every time I play my Xbox, which it's been almost probably 9 months since I played my Xbox. Since we got off the State of Decay 2 kind of kick. When I play the Xbox and then I go back to my PlayStation, the PlayStation just feels comfortable to me. It feels like home.
Yeah,
and Xbox is like that blind date you went on, and it was kind of a hot mess.
Keep in mind, I haven't touched an Xbox in like 5 years, maybe.
Well, they haven't really done anything. And I fixed my chair.
I have no interest. Zero.
I'm gonna be the Xbox hype man then, I guess. Here the Xbox is great. They got all the great games the PlayStation has. I'm
sure they do. I just don't care.
I
don't see like the like you guys. I'm getting like anger and resentment from you guys.
I'm not angry at Xbox. It's just
why would I get both?
Yeah, he barely has time for one.
Right. That you're right about that, Dirk. I won't get both.
I would get the Switch over an Xbox, Dirk.
Sure, yes. I would too. Especially, we'll get to Nintendo stuff. Definitely,
well, we'll get to Nintendo.
I agree with that.
So,
I agree with that.
Same.
But I think with Microsoft, the parts I did catch at the press conference, they were hyping up the Game Pass for the PC.
Yep.
which is cool because I downloaded and installed Forza Horizon on my PC, which is a gaming computer, and it's designed to really just, make it pretty and like oohs and ahs, and the game is amazing on the computer.
Yep.
The problem with it, because one of my coworkers, he got the Game Pass for his PC yesterday or today, and the problem is you can only install games through it on the local drive, the C drive, which traditionally holds your operating system.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is with gamers is we don't store and install. We don't install video games on our C drive. We have a larger drive that's separate from it. That's going to be a solid state drive that we install our games to, and just keep the C drive just for the operating of the computer. And you can't change the target of the install for the games through the Game Pass. It has to be on your C drive. So
That's
just
funny.
sort of.
You're the first person I've heard that from. Then that seems like be a big deal for PC gamers.
It is a huge deal. It hasn't come out yet because people are still
just starting to
get over their hangover from E3.
So I guess, Jeff, the last thing I'll say about the Game Pass on PC, and Dirk, you were like, why would I get this, right? And the only thing that I think the Xbox is doing right, and it's not to me, is for people who have a good PC and an Xbox, they're combining all that subscription shit. And like what I paid $10 a month for Xbox Live, I paid $10 a month for Game Pass. And now they're combining that and adding Game Pass on the PC and bringing the price down. Like, so it's $15 a month, and you get Game Pass on both and the ability to play over Xbox Live. Like, that's a really good deal. If you have a nice PC and an Xbox, you have hundreds of awesome games, like for the cheapest, like almost as much as it costs just to play online on the PlayStation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a really, really good deal. I don't have a PC that can handle it, so it doesn't matter to me.
I have zero PC.
Right. Right. Yep.
This one costs about $1,000.
Yep. Yes, it does. So moving along, the next day there's a couple smaller ones from the individual companies. Jeff, we both watched Ubisoft, right?
I watched most of Ubisoft, yeah.
I'll say we'll talk about the games in there a little bit later in our gigantic list of games.
I think that's funny, though, is the biggest thing from the Ubisoft press conference was just that Uplay Plus subscription company or subscription service, which is magically $15 a month, and it's supposed to work on PC and Stadia.
Yeah, that's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
I think that's a lot of money. Like, for me, that's more than 3 games a year. And some years I buy 3 Ubisoft games. Like, Ubisoft is definitely my favorite of the big companies that makes games aimed at us right now.
Yes.
But I don't want to just give them that money up front in hopes that they have that many games that I'm going to like that year. You know what I mean? I'd rather just buy one here and there. That price is too high for a single company to come out at. You know what I mean? If it was $5 a month or something, like, I'm in instantly. You know what I mean? But $15 a month, no, thank you.
That's the same price as basically if you paid a monthly subscription to a lot of the big MMOs, or EVE Online is that much a month, or WoW is that much a month. So it's like, but I'm already paying, what? If you have Xbox Live for a year, that's $60 a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's one game, though. That's not more than 3. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Yeah, but do I always play Ubisoft games? No. Do I love Ubisoft games? Yes, I do.
I do every year. I play at least one every year. And some years I play multiples.
Well, I'm a fan of it. I mean, Division 2, the Watch Dogs series is starting to really flesh out from the original.
Wildlands.
You got Wildlands, so Ghost Recon. Yeah. And then you have Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And what else is?
All the Tom Clancy shit.
All the Tom Clancy
Siege and the new Rainbow Six game that they're talking about. Like, there's a lot of games. There is a lot of games, but too much Too much for me for a subscription. I'd rather just buy the ones that I want.
Yeah, I'd prefer to buy
pass.
Pass.
Yep.
Next up is Squaresoft Enix.
So this was in their conference with some of the hypest moments of the whole weekend. That's for sure.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they brought the heat, man.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they weren't afraid to stand their non-English speaking executives up there to look awkward, just like all of our executives look when they get up there as well.
But what's funny is when we watch like English speaking executives get up and they're not good at presenting and they say a lot. You're so used to it. When the Japanese do it, it's cool sounding though.
Yeah.
Just because it's not
enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is real.
And their saving grace is they can just say like 3 sentences and then they get to wait for the translation to be said.
Right.
Right. So their pacing is better than English speaking.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah.
They had that one was like the late night one on Sunday night, and the crowd was rowdy. I don't know if you guys watched it. Like they were showing people in the crowd, and everybody had beers in their hands, and they were constantly interrupting and like screaming stuff at the people on stage and stuff like that. That's
awesome.
Kind of cool. And the one other thing that I thought of note is that they talked about putting all their music on streaming services. And if you go to all the modern streaming services right now for music, all of Squaresoft's music is on there for free. So like classic video game tunes from like 25 years ago are all up there now. And that's really awesome. I think it's important. There's a lot of video game music that's really, really great. And,
seminal. I have moments in my life, absolutely, specifically with Zelda, entering the chapel,
sure,
A Link to the Past. It gives me goosebumps every time.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
And you can't get that song without like listening to it someplace where it's illegal right now. It's awesome that Squaresoft did this to, gave it to everybody. It's great, really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
It meant a lot to me. Thank you, Squaresoft.
It does. Especially the music, Final Fantasy music has always been really good.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. For sure.
Especially the greatest Final Fantasy game ever made. And being remade.
Nintendo.
Awkward transition. Welcome to E3.
Nintendo
Direct.
Shoot. What's the Doug Bowser joke?
Well, Doug Bowser is the American VP. He's a VP for the American division of Nintendo.
His name is really Bowser?
Yes.
It is.
So the joke is they brought Bowser on from Mario Brothers, and one of the execs was talking to him, and basically I didn't catch the whole thing because I was working while I was listening to it, so I wasn't watching it.
It was wrong Bowser.
Sorry, wrong Bowser.
We joked about it when we covered that dude got hired this past year.
Yeah.
So it was just funny to watch Nintendo actually do it in a really awkward fashion.
It was
as is their way on it.
Nate's hyped about this.
Nate is hyped
about real games.
Shitload. It says it in the stick.
I am hyped about it, and I still don't know when I'm going to get a Switch, but it finally happened. There's finally a shitload of games coming to Switch. It was when Nintendo, like, try not to make this too long, the Wii had that mega hype year, right, where all the grandmas went and bought Wiis, and Nintendo thought that was the future, and then the Wii ended up being a system that was full of shovelware and had very few like hardcore Nintendo games on it, right? Like I've got them on my shelf. There's like 10 or 15 of them or something that are for the like hardcore gamer, and the Wii had like all this other stuff. And then the Wii U was not successful, right? And so if you were a Nintendo fan for like 8 years at the like end of the Wii and all through the Wii U, when you went to E3, they were talking about like 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. And then if they got some games that were on other consoles, they were like 6 years old or something like that. Like this thing, they must have shown 50, 60 games. They showed as many games as were on the Microsoft thing.
Did you see the poll on IGN on who won E3?
No.
Not yet, no.
Nintendo. By a substantial margin.
Yeah, I think they did for sure. And just how I was talking before about how it was Microsoft's chance to get me and they didn't. Like Nintendo stepped up and was like, fuck, they made me take notice. They had all kinds of cool shit. And when they got to like the spot that the other companies usually have their sizzle reel that's like full of all the like indie games and small games you never heard of, it was full of fucking real ass games in there for the Switch. Like they were like, oh yeah, and then they here comes like 30 like AAA titles. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, couldn't believe it. Yeah, absolutely. So and then they closed it out with the Breath of the Wild sequel, right?
Which looks wild.
Awesome. As soon as I saw the Breath of the Wild sequel, I was like, well, Nate's going to buy a Switch now because he's always been saying that they need to bring the games for me to buy it. And they brought Breath of the Wild sequel.
Seeing that Lich turn and his eyes light up, I was like, whoa.
Very Acererak.
It's a different level of Zelda.
Absolutely. It's really cool that they did like they're doing what it's the Ocarina of Time and was Majora's Mask. Like Ocarina of Time came out and blew everybody's mind, right? There was nothing like that before in a 3D game like that. And then they used the exact same engine and turned around the next game, Majora's Mask, real quick within 2 years because they used the same engine. But Majora's Mask, if you've played those two games, very different feel, right? Like they made it weird. And so that was awesome. And that's clearly what they did here, right? It was so creepy and like weird looking and like you say, like a lich and stuff, you know what I mean? That really cool that it's not just Breath of the Wild 2. You know what I mean? You're not just going to run around and do the same things you did in Breath of the Wild. You can just tell from that opening that this has its own new thing happening.
It does. Yeah. And it shows that Nintendo is following the pop culture of American audiences and Japanese, but Americans because of all the zombies. I mean, think about how popular zombie games are right now, from Call of Duty to World War Z.
I'm sick of them. They are popular.
They are popular, but Nintendo did it in Nintendo's way, and it hyped you up, Dirk.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew how to get.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was the biggest stylistic change to Zelda that I've seen in a long time, if not ever.
That's the way that it is, and I like how Breath of the Wild looks on the Switch. It does look better on the Switch than it did on the Wii U, and I've played both versions because I own both of them. Because I'm an idiot, and I bought the damn game again for another copy.
It's one of the greatest games of all time. There's nothing wrong with buying Breath of the Wild twice.
Jeff, you're not an idiot.
Yes.
Might be simple, but not an idiot.
Well, how many copies of Skyrim did I buy? Yes, I'm an idiot.
That's another one of the greatest games of all time, Jeff.
I bought 3. So.
You're allowed to buy awesome games multiple times. And not
I would do it again.
You know,
I would buy Last of Us again.
I might buy Skyrim again.
Skyrim. I know somebody that's bought like all copies and the VR.
Dude, I didn't do any of the DLC. I should buy it and do it.
Can I, Dirk? Let's. I'm going to follow your tangent all the way and say that in the PlayStation sale that's going on right now, I bought Kingdom Come Deliverance, and it's fucking awesome. And it's Skyrim but in real historical accurate medieval times.
I know.
It feels exactly like Skyrim. If you're having a Skyrim bug that you want to itch right now, absolutely. I can't suggest anything more than that game. It's so awesome.
Not to tangent any further than that, but what about a Plague Tale Innocence? Has anybody talked about that or seen it or?
No.
What is that? No.
A Plague Tale. It takes place in the Black Plague.
Okay.
Oh really?
And but man, watch this trailer. I'm telling you, it looks bonkers.
We'll link
it in the show.
I showed it to. Or is it already out?
I think it might be out actually. I showed it to Vanessa and she was like, "Holy shit, what is this? And I was like, I don't know. It's a game about the Black Plague, and you are like a mom and a kid, and you're trying to survive. It looks nuts.
I'd be down with that. Maybe I'd have to check it out.
Dude, I almost bought it. I almost bought it on the spot, and I rarely do that.
Funny.
Well,
all right.
Anyway,
let's talk about some games, huh?
Let's talk about some fucking games.
Let's talk about, first off, what I noticed is maybe what one game that was talked about last E3, maybe 2 games that were talked about last E3 were talked about this E3.
What? I think there's like 1,000.
Really?
I feel like there wasn't any new game announcements this year, to be honest.
Well, no,
Golden Ring.
Yeah, that was a new one. I mean, I'm looking at this list. More than half of these were in last year's.
Were they?
Yeah.
We didn't talk about them last year.
Outer Worlds?
No, Outer Worlds was not. But Star Wars, Cyberpunk, Gears, Borderlands, Halo, Doom, Watch Dogs, Ghost Recon.
But where was
Final
Death
Fantasy,
Stranding?
Marvel's
Ghost
Avengers?
of Tsushima.
Well, those are PlayStation exclusive, and PlayStation didn't come this year.
Oh.
That's true. Okay, let's get to the games.
All right.
You want to kick it off with Star Wars?
Let's just kick it off with, well, I mean, yeah, we can just go down the list. Might as well just go down the list because we're gonna end with our top 3 games that we feel were top 3 for us for E3. So in no particular order, so there's no like biasness or weighting, even though the first game is Star Wars.
That's first because we have not had a show since they dropped the Star Wars trailer.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I mean? That was like 7 days ago or something at this point now. Yeah. So we never even discussed that.
It was in that cusp. It was in that like the calm before E3.
Yeah, right.
And
exactly.
EA's like, surprise.
Right.
Here's some gameplay footage.
I know.
Can I start off with my opinion on it first, and then you guys, because I'm the non-Star Wars head.
Sure.
I love Star Wars, but I don't know half as much as you two do. I absolutely love that gameplay. I mean, I'm so about that, everything about it. I don't know if it's something like it doesn't follow what a hardcore Star Wars fan would want out of a game. I don't know. That's why I'm gonna kick the ball to you. But for me, that shit looks hot, and I would love to jump into it.
I agree. It looks hot. It looks hot. You know, when I was watching it, it had the feel of some older PC games, the Jedi Academy games. It had that feel to it. It didn't feel like the
one it reminded me of Force Unleashed.
That's the one I was just. It didn't remind me of Force Unleashed. It didn't remind me of Force Unleashed because it flowed better and it seemed a transition smoother and had better camera angles.
But I mean, the way that the gameplay was set up in it reminded me a little bit like you were using your Force and melee and all that.
Right. So
I'm definitely down for it.
I will absolutely buy that and play it the first day it comes out for sure.
Yeah.
It looks fun. I think it does have the look of it kind of like Force Unleashed had, where to me, I'm like the story guy, right? And video game stories are just in general not as good as movies or TV or books. They're just not. And the rare one that comes along, like The Last of Us or The Witcher or something, is such a big deal to me when that happens. But I feel like there's only like a handful of those that were ever made as far as video games go. When they try to be like cinematic and real looking like that. And I feel like KOTOR is one of those games. Like KOTOR, I thought was game changing at the time. It took Star Wars and like just blew my mind out with it. And since then, games like Force Unleashed were good, but they just didn't. It felt like a video game story. It didn't have the same kind of weight and depth to it. Yeah, that something like KOTOR had, right? And to me, like this looks like that. This looks like the story mode to Battlefront or whatnot. Like I'm sure I'll play it and I'll enjoy it, but I'm not expecting to like. I don't know, like when they create like a new character that you've never heard of in the movies that was a Jedi who was running around between episode 3 and episode 4, like that should have substantial weight to it. You know what I mean? And with video games, like I just feel like it's kind of an afterthought-ish, you know, like that's my impression of after watching this. Like that main character dude just seemed kind of, he didn't have like a level of charisma that like kind of sucked me into like, oh, this guy's awesome for me to play as him, which is what I thought of the Force Unleashed games as well. Like it was cool to do the Force moves, and it was really the best that we've ever had in an action game.
It was fucking annoying, is what it was.
But I didn't think so.
The game was annoying as shit because half the mobs were easy as shit, and then you get to some like one spot, and it's like the hardest thing on the planet, and you're like, what the?
My concern with this is that it might be too short of a story.
I'm scared of that too because it is EA.
Yeah, it's not going to be very long.
Well, I will say that these are the guys that made Titanfall 2, and I loved that story, and that was short, but it was good too. Like it gives me hope for this for sure. But I just feel like after watching all the stuff this weekend, like yes, they've sold me that I'm going to buy the game and play the game for sure. It's definitely a AAA Star Wars.
Oh
so I'll be doing that. But it's got to, as of yet, it hasn't proved itself to me that like it's going to be something special, you know.
The only thing I'm not really hyped on is that I'm bringing in Forrest Whitaker's character from Rogue One, Saw Gerrera.
Why aren't you hyped about that?
I'm not. I don't know. It's just it's like they're. I don't know. I understand who he is. I understand the role he played with the Jedi after Order 66.
You're insane.
I am not insane.
You've lost your mind.
Now, if they had brought writers that wrote Rogue One to write the story for this game, that would be sick.
You want R2-D2 instead?
No, Kenny Baker's dead. Moving on, Outer Worlds. I did not even see this game.
It looks pretty cool. It reminds me of what's it called? BioShock a little bit.
Oh, really?
Sure. Yeah. It's Obsidian who originally worked on the good Fallout stuff.
Yes,
and it's it's their new game. So it feels very much like a Bethesda game when you look at it. And whatnot. But Dirk's right. Like the environment and whatnot feels weirder. Kind of like it's cool.
There's a shot in the trailer where they show like 6 or 7 NPC faces in a row. And you know that you're going to be talking to those people in the game, which is cool. It's so Bethesda-like to do that.
It is very... I'm looking at pictures right now, and it's very Bethesda.
Yeah, but it looks... And they have a level of comedy in it, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Huh.
I agree.
So I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, I think especially how disappointing in general, disappointing might be the wrong word, but the last 2 Fallouts haven't been much of an iteration on the formula, right? And so hopefully these guys they're back to show them how it's done.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting though is on a side note, when we're talking about especially the last 2 Fallout games, Fallout 76. They are actually adding the winter patch, which is adding NPCs into the environment.
Yes, right? I saw that. Yep.
Finally.
Yeah.
It's about time.
The next up,
Blair
Witch. Which I am 1,000% in on. I like games that scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I got the vibe. I got the vibe from this that's going to be happening. They have it down to the shaky VHS.
Yeah.
Andy Cam.
Yeah. And
It was really quality looking. I thought it held up to be based on those movies. Like it looked like it. My kid called it. He goes, "Is this Blair Witch?" And then it panned out to the Blair Witch symbol in the woods, and I was like, "Oh my god, it is Blair Witch." You know,
I doubt it's gonna have a whole lot of gameplay. You know, but just for that brief experience of like turning your lights off.
Yeah, totally.
Playing it in the dark.
That's what it looks like. It'll be an experience more than a game, right? Like, yeah, what it looks like, anyways, from there. But it looked good. I thought.
Absolutely. Who made it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah. Okay. Same. One of the few surprises to me that I hadn't heard about at all before this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So the not surprising at all game. Probably game of the show was,
Can we say it all at the same time? Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk. I am still stoked for this game. I mean, they didn't have to.
Stokes not even the word, buddy.
They didn't have to bring in Keanu, and it's not a detractor for me to have Keanu Reeves in the game.
No, it's for fun. I think it's for fun to do it.
And I think I see why they brought him in, because they're calling back to him as Neo in the Matrix. That's why I think they're putting him into that game.
Also, name recognition. You know, Rockstar used to do the same thing when they added Ray Liotta in Vice City and Burt Reynolds.
Samuel L. Jackson in San Andreas.
Yeah. I'd like the idea of having famous people in games. But man, I cannot.
I can't
get
either.
Over how fucking pumped I am for this game. Every single facet of it, just the colors.
Can I talk about Keanu for a second before you get into that? Because I want to get excited about the game for you too. I hate Keanu Reeves with a passion.
I really do. Utah?
No, he's been terrible his entire career, and I don't understand why people like him. Like, he literally sits on screen in these like serious action movies with like stupid like Ted looks on his face. Like, I don't get it that people.
He's not a good actor.
Take him seriously, right? And
but I love him.
Sure, and I could see it in that way, like to joke around and watch Point Break or something. Like, but yeah, he's just, I don't know. To me, he's a distraction. Like what you talked about with the Grand Theft Auto games, those were voice actors for different characters. It wasn't like when he comes down in the screen, it is Keanu Reeves right in your face. Like, that is a distraction to me, for sure, from the rest of the game. And
we got to see how big of a part he plays in it.
You're right. But
it could be a bit character.
The whole I'm the outlier here for sure. The whole world thinks that it's cool. I know. Yeah. But for me, it's a negative for me, to be honest. But the only negative, I'll let you keep on opining about how cool the city is, because the rest of that.
Yeah, I don't even think of. I know we talked about Blade Runner, but that's not what it reminds me of.
It's more Judge Dredd-ish.
It just feels completely fresh. It feels like it has touchstones of those other things. Whether it's a Fifth Element, Judge Dredd,
Blade Runner.
Yeah, but it really is its own product. And I am so excited.
Yeah,
I'm stoked for it. When I saw that they did the cityscape shot for it again, I was like, I can't wait. You know, I find myself randomly throughout the day, even before E3, I would be like, man, I want to play some Cyberpunk. I've only watched like that 40-minute gameplay that they did a year ago almost.
Did we get a release date?
Yeah, it's April 16th, 2020.
It's 8 days after my next birthday.
Less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year. So I'm stoked. I'm really stoked for Cyberpunk, and when I get some money here, I'm actually gonna buy a physical copy and get a collector's edition.
I think I have too, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think I totally am.
I'll do it.
They convinced me with The Witcher that they deserve my money.
They do. And if I wait long enough, as long as they don't sell out for the ultimate collectors, whatever it's called, the big one.
Yeah.
That comes with the statue and the steel book. I'm gonna drop the $210 for that.
That's
bitch.
nice. Yeah. This will be the first game that I ever purposely bought a more expensive than the base version model of, and just because of that, because
I
it's
want
gonna
the
be
extra
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah, it's
I'll
gonna
join
be
you
great.
in that.
And they're not gonna. CD Projekt Red is not going to jilt or gyp their consumers like Bethesda did with Fallout 77's big collector's edition.
They definitely will not.
They will not. So that
Cool.
that is yes.
Nice. So working on a list here, the next couple games, I just put my name by them to talk about how Microsoft is one of the other cool things that they're doing is bringing a couple of these hardcore PC games to Xbox, because for me, like Flight Simulator, right? Like in the 80s, I played Flight Simulator on Microsoft shit, and it's kind of a cool nostalgic piece of whatever computers to me, right? So for them to come out with that and put it on Game Pass for free, I'm all about that. Age of Empires 2, same thing. I'm really excited to play those. Those are huge franchises that are just missed console completely over the past 3 decades or whatever. And it's cool that Microsoft's bringing them. So I'm into it.
I remember the old flights. They made the best flight simulators.
They did, yeah.
They made the best ones. And the same thing, that's why I was surprised to see they had Age of Empires 2 on here, because that has gained loyal following when they moved it to Steam. And they're actually launching Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, where they have gone through and reworked all the sprites and rendered all the models in 3D and put it up to 4K resolution on this game. And they're constantly adding DLC for it.
Let's go.
So
that's cool.
And it's on Steam right now for $20. And then the DLC. Yeah, and it is an older game. It's an old ass game, but it's fun. It is the best. It is considered the best Age of Empires game out there.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to play it then, because I got Game Pass, so I'm all over that shit.
Hell yeah.
The next one on here was Gears 5. I was the only one to put my name by it. I just wanted to point out that it's weird that still that Xbox is just Gears and Halo. Gears continues to not interest me for some reason. I like the co-op gameplay, but that you put on those weird suits and have dudes look like gigantic meatheads walking around in them. It just I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me.
Voice acting.
Nope.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird.
No thanks.
Bro game.
And then, the next one on the list is Borderlands 3, which we talked about. We're all pretty hyped about Borderlands. I thought that it's cool that they're putting out free DLC to Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 came out a long ass time ago, and the Handsome Collection goes on sale all the time for $2, something real cheap. And
I just got it,
and now it's free for PlayStation Plus this month.
Yeah, right. So I think it's really awesome that they made a little something that's going to lead into the new game and gave it to all of us for free this week. If y'all don't know, go download that shit, because it's not going to be free forever. And it is right now on the PlayStation Store. So yeah, go grab it, and then I think that's a great idea. Nobody's done that yet, as far as I know.
I think it was beautiful timing on their part to make the collection, the Borderlands 2 Handsome Collection, free. The month of E3.
Right.
They were perfect in their marketing and timing.
They did it.
Knock it out of the park. Gearbox did something right. Now, this next one, you're really hyped about. I am not hyped about it. I'm not. I don't know. I just am not on board for Elden Ring. I know that they partnered with George R.R. Martin, but guess what? George, finish fucking Game of Thrones. Finish the books. Don't worry about video games.
Yeah, but it's the Dark Souls and Bloodborne guy also.
I know. It is From Software, and I like From Software, because I'm a huge fan of Sekiro.
Also, the thing, this is what attracts me to it, is Martin knows how to plot, right? Yeah. And using that, putting that into a game, it could be a massive failure and not work, but it could also be really awesome just based off of his storytelling in it.
It could be if he actually completes it.
Well, I mean, the game is done, right?
We don't. It's George Martin. We don't know that. He might be like, well, you're going to get story, DLC is coming with.
For me, it's really interesting. To me, like, this is another when Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro started working together. Like, those are two dudes who have made some really weird shit in completely different mediums, and for the two of them to get together and try and make something, to create something together, is like super appealing to me. And that's the same thing with this game, right? Those two minds. I forget his name, Miyazaki, I think.
Yeah, Miyazaki. Yeah.
I could be wrong,
or Miyazuki or something.
I think it's him, and George R. R. Martin. Like,
Miyazaki.
For those two guys to collaborate, like, what does that even look like? You know what I mean? And so for me, like, that's very exciting.
Oh, the third person action RPG also.
That's what they would call Sekiro.
Yeah, and I think, Jeff, if you love that game that much, I'm surprised you're not going to give this one a shot.
Yeah. Same. I will give it a shot if it twists my nipples enough.
There you go.
All right. Next one on the list, Halo. We all know what Halo is. It's coming out at launch of the next Xbox.
That's the one. I love Halo. I love Halo.
That's the only thing in this weekend that is a next gen game that they showed for a second. So why did you breathe through your nose? You don't like Halo?
I don't think I've ever played a Halo game, so I'm just clowning it because it's Xbox. Gotcha. Halo broke ground for. I know it's
to be in like gigantic battles against aliens with AI on your side, like rolling over mountains and having there's nothing else like that when Halo first came out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Next
Doom
up
Eternal.
Is Doom Eternal.
Dude, I totally dug it. First off, how I thought it was beautiful for a Doom game. Totally. But it almost looks like they're expanding on a mythology in there. And my favorite thing of it was the melee was intense. Yeah. I mean, all the upfront, like, that shit was wild. I don't.
Have you played 2016's Doom?
What, the last Doom?
The last Doom?
Yeah, the 2016 one.
I didn't play it in depth. I played it probably, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours into it.
Yeah, because it's like that. Like, enemies only drop health if you finish them with a melee.
Yeah.
And so it changes the way you play a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get in people's faces and keep attacking the more damage that you're taking. Like, it's really great.
They have a lot of variants on the melee kills.
Yeah, I think
few. I wouldn't say a lot.
I don't remember.
Well, that's what I mean, though. In this trailer, it looks like you had a lot of different, types of melee kills going.
I'm gonna have to download it again and start playing through it again.
Yeah, I think I have. I
have it on my PlayStation.
It's always on sale.
I have it on my PlayStation. I just gotta re-download it. I got space.
Do it.
It'll be interesting. Last Doom I really liked was Doom when they revamped it. I think it was Doom 3 on the PC, and this was probably back in early 2000s. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was really good, though. Because all you had was a shotgun with a flashlight.
Yeah.
You're like,
I played that too. Yeah.
I played it in the dark, and I was freaking out because I had headphones on.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, brother.
All right, next up, Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah, that looks great, man.
I don't know if you guys have ever played Watch Dogs 1 or 2.
I have not, but this got me interested.
and it's Ubisoft. And you know, Watch Dogs got a lot of negative publicity because it taught people how to hack. And all you do to hack, all you do is hit triangle.
Right.
Or square or X or whatever you wanted to set it to. But go ahead. I was waiting for you.
I was going to say, I felt like the other ones didn't interest me because they felt kind of samey. I couldn't differentiate it from other games on the market enough that I wanted to purchase it. But this looks great. I don't know. There's something about it that draws me to it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's the same feel because I liked 1, and then I bought 2. My only complaint about 2 is the random F-bombs when I have a child in the room. I just didn't want that, you know. But the second one takes place in San Francisco, dude, and it's funny.
This one's London, right?
This is London. So the 1 and 2, they really pull a lot from pop culture. So that's its whole thing. In Watch Dogs 2, it pulls a lot from pop culture, and it makes fun of. It was making fun of Apple and Google.
Gotcha. I played the first one, and I do agree with Dirk. It felt like a GTA clone is what it felt like to me, where you press the triangle button to do some special moves every now and then, and it was okay, but not enough to kind of pull me away from whatever else I was doing, right? And this one, that whole like recruit anybody thing, that seems awesome, right? Like it's cool that and they went right through a group of people that were very different from each other and brought different skills and stuff, and I think like that's kind of, they did an Assassin's Creed game, Brotherhood, that was like that, where it's like recruit people, like, and I feel like this seemed like almost an evolution on that. You know what I mean? Like this seems like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood 2 is what it looks like. But yeah, it looks interesting.
It pretty much is, yeah. Well, the cool thing is the online component with Watch Dogs, unlike GTA, is they had the mobile app, so you could sit there and log in on the mobile app, and someone would be doing a mission, and you could control things on someone else's game, and so it fucked with them. It was kind of, it wasn't PvP.
I remember that
like GTA was, but it was similar, and so it was kind of cool that you were in a world full of, you know, rogue hackers, and you would sometimes run into each other. So I look forward to it, and you know, another Ubisoft game that I never played Wildlands, but I might do Breakpoint with Ghost Recon,
which leads us into our next game.
What I did. I led us into the next game.
Yeah, I think this is another one that came out a week before. It came out like when the Star Wars trailer came out is when they announced it or whatever. And they put, I don't know if you guys watched, there's like a 20-minute video where it kind of walks you through one of the missions, and seems great. Wildlands was really, really fun bro game for sure. It was absolutely one of the best in the past few years. So when they say sequel to Wildlands, then I'm ready to go. Ready to go.
I'm not super huge on the military games, but I mean, I'll check it out if you guys swear by it.
Really into
Dirk,
Rainbow Six.
I wouldn't swear for anybody to play this game if you weren't playing it online with friends. That's where to us, like, we would get like 2 helicopters and fly them over a volcano into each other so they'd explode, and then we would all jump out at the same time with our parachutes and go flying down and hop on motorcycles and then jump over like dams together and stuff. Like that game, the real game itself was nowhere near as fun as that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's like a sandbox for doing that stuff is what it is.
Yeah, I just don't get to play multi, so
yeah, right.
You know,
yep.
But
that's what I'm saying. Yep. As you brought it up, like I would swear by it, but not for your situation. You know what I mean? Not as a single player game, that's for sure.
Cool. Yep. What's next? Gods and Monsters.
Oh well, wait. The Quarantine was the other one.
Oh
yeah, Rainbow Six.
This was a new announcement this year also, and they said that it's basically like the Siege engine, only it's not PvP, it's PvE, and that's absolutely speaking my language. That's 100% the type of game that I want to play with my friends on Sunday nights for sure. So they didn't show much gameplay or anything like that, but that was a real exciting announcement for me. So had to throw that in there.
Nice.
The Gods and Monsters, Dirk. So did you watch that?
Yes.
So
remind me though, because I saw so many trailers.
So they presented it like it's the guys who make Assassin's Creed, but it was a very like cartoony thing where you were like this angel looking dude or whatever.
And something came from the sky.
Yeah, right. And then it ended up with him like jumping across the thing fighting it. But you could tell it was like Assassin's Creed like engine for battle and fighting and stuff. Yeah. And it was like in a totally fantasy setting.
Well, no, it's playing on real Greek mythology.
Is it?
This is the game. It's basically they took the research that they did for Greece and mythology and Athens and Sparta that they used for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they're making this game. That's why it looks very Assassin's Creed-ish. One, because it's Ubisoft, and two, they already have the groundwork and the maps.
Well, you absolutely sold me then, because I didn't think that there was enough in the trailer. I was definitely attracted to it, but I didn't feel like there was enough content for me to say, well, what am I looking at? Am I going to get this game? But if it's Greek mythology,
Jeff? Yes. Are you sure about that? Like, this was not. It was all like cartoony and whatnot. Like, yeah, it was. Gods and Monsters is a very cartoony looking game. It looks like Fortnite or something.
Looking at it, I was just looking at the images because I did catch part of this.
It's like Zelda with Greek. Yeah, he's right. It's like Zelda with Greek mythology.
Yeah, it is kind of a cartoony, but they're gonna play more on the Greek mythology in it because you got harpies.
That is badass. Yeah. A Zelda game in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
I never heard about it before this weekend. I didn't think it was announced, so I didn't know that it was Greek. Like,
it's the Odyssey team that made it.
Yeah. It's the Odyssey because they already did all the research. They already have the framework. All they do is do different shadings and.
Are they saying it's 100+ hour game?
Probably. It's Ubisoft, dude. Assassin's Creed are long fucking games.
Ooh.
The trailer didn't say that. The trailer was just a quick thing saying like from the makers of Odyssey, and then it said and it's something about how like they were freed from the constraints of like reality or whatever. Like it's interesting.
Man, I'm totally in though. If that's what that is, wow.
They're basically making a video game about Greek mythology is what they're doing.
I'm obsessed with it.
That's why it's Gods and Monsters.
All right. Next up, the hype train.
Is this a little game? It's old.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It looks sick.
It looks sick. I know that I was talking to a coworker about it, and he's like, I don't know if I'm turned off about the combat. And then I was watching it, and I'm like, dude, I am on board for that combat.
Yeah,
stuff.
I love the combat.
Awesome.
Yeah,
the combat is
about it. Yeah.
It's so freeform. It's like you can't even tell that it's turn-based.
Yeah, and the only time it goes
until it is.
Yeah,
right? Like,
the only time it becomes turn-based is when you're using your special abilities.
Right.
Yeah, I kept hearing rumors they got rid of materia, but in the clips that I saw,
there's a lot of materia.
You've got Ariel giving McLeod materia.
Cloud.
I know.
No, listen. You had me at Sephiroth.
Oh yeah.
You had me at Sephiroth.
The whole way that they've redid this game, the fact that it's coming on 2 Blu-ray discs.
Oh.
And I'm gonna have to buy this one. I'm gonna have to buy the physical copy too.
Dude, I thought it was so beautifully rendered too. I mean, like the wow. I was just like, man.
You're gonna have to buy a new PlayStation and a 4K TV.
Is the story gonna stay intact?
From what I understand,
this game is just Midgar.
Like, is it the same exact story, or are they retelling?
It can't be if this first one's just Midgar and it's on 2 discs.
Yeah,
they're definitely gonna add stuff into that for sure. Like that's what they said is like this game will end and you will not have hit the world map in Final Fantasy VII in the original game. You know what I mean? This is just Midgar. So it absolutely has to. I don't know, improve upon or add to the story.
How am I going to be able to play this shit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Next year.
Next year. Yeah. 2020, they said. Yeah, it blew me away, and it was the combat for sure. Like, for me, like that got me, like the seeing that hybrid system. Like I've never seen anything like that before.
No.
It looks really fun.
Well, dude, and the bullets, like you could see like 10, 8, 7, 10 coming off them as you shoot.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
And I liked whoever they got to actually do the voice acting. The voices actually fit. Because I'm sorry, I've played enough JRPGs where the voices and the voice acting that they pick for characters does not match the look of the character, and it's really off-putting. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I like the game, but yeah, I'm super psyched, and it's less than a year, and it's gonna be crazy. All right, next up.
Oh, here we go, fellas. It's Marvel's Avengers.
I'm not.
And I was disappointed.
I'm very disappointed. It's one thing is the problem. I think my biggest hang up, for me, is usually visual. And we've been watching, 22 movies plus of Marvel characters and the actors that play Marvel and Marvel superheroes and the Avengers. And then you see this, and it's like they don't look familiar. They don't sound familiar.
Right.
And it just, I didn't feel it.
I'm kind of, okay, these are my quick thoughts. And I don't know if it's fair to the game, but this is just me. I'm a little burnt out on that team.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have preferred a Fantastic Four game or, I mean, I don't know, something else, or maybe a different Avengers team, or a Guardians of the Galaxy game, or something else. And I just, it just didn't draw me in like Spider-Man. And when I watched that Spider-Man trailer when it first dropped, I was in. I mean, I was in. The mechanics were there. This, I have no idea what the mechanics are. I don't know if you switch between players within a linear narrative.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you pick one and it's all from their perspective.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm scared that it's going to be a mess.
It's supposed to be made for 4-player co-op, so I bet you if you played it by yourself, you could switch between them, and they're probably just like AI otherwise.
Yeah,
it's not going to be the same with AI.
But it looked like Ultimate Alliance or something. I don't know. I just
So I disagree because I think Ultimate Alliance looks fucking hype. But it's hard to tell. Like kind of what both of you are saying. This isn't the movie Avengers, right? This is not the MCU. They told Crystal Dynamics that they could make their own team. So why do they all look so similar to the movie guys?
Exactly.
Like for me, like Spider-Man looks like a cartoon, and it's like almost Golden Age-ish looking Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And even J. Jonah Jameson and all that stuff in the background. Like I wish like this one, like Thor's looks exactly like the Thor outfit from the movies, only it's some weird looking dude's face sticking out of it to me. Like why didn't you at least make Thor's outfit like different in a cool, unique way or something like that? You know what I mean? If you're gonna do that, so that does kind of bug me. And they didn't really show. You're right, Dirk. You can't tell what the fuck kind of game it is, so I don't know whether to get excited or not for it.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was cinematics or just watching cutscenes.
Yeah, it seems like there's a couple seconds that could have been gameplay in the middle of it.
Maybe when Iron Man's like flying through the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes,
there's some Hulk stuff.
Yes,
there that could have been.
Could have been, and I thought it was maybe some Hulk gameplay until he just like randomly kicks a dude. And I'm like, well, that's a cutscene kind of move. That's not.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, it could be a cool story. I mean, but if the gameplay sucks, I won't care about the story.
Oh.
Right. Well,
what story are they
if
going to
it's-
tell?
To me, if it's Crystal Dynamics, the gameplay won't suck. I still kind of have faith. Like those, if you've played the newer Tomb Raider games, they're awesome. They're really great. The gameplay in them is really, really great.
That's
so
good.
Unless they get rushed out the door or something, I expect the gameplay still to be good. But I was really hoping to have like an option of like 100 Avengers to pick from or whatever.
Oh my god!
To see even right when they came out on the stage and it was like Thor, Hulk, Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like the main Widow and who's the last.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same team. I want at least Vision. Throw me Vision.
Sure.
God damn.
And I feel like it will because at the end they came out with Hank Pym, right? Like, so I feel like their plan will be to add people, but it just like they didn't lay out what their plan was. You know what I mean? Like, that was the issue to me is that I still don't really know what the hell it is at this point. You know?
True.
This list was made kind of in the order that all the press conferences came out, so it's Nintendo time at this point. And the first game they kicked out their press conference with Luigi's Mansion 3. I think I've opined about Luigi's Mansion enough times on our podcast. Luigi's Mansion, I think, is one of the greatest games of the past 10 years. Luigi Mansion Dark Moon, anyways.
I was thinking about really,
really awesome. So I'm totally hyped for Luigi's Mansion 3.
No.
Because you don't like things to be unique, Jeff, or artistic. Like this Luigi's Mansion does gameplay in a way that no other game does. It's super inventive. And it's awesome. It is.
Man. I was just thinking, like, man, Jeff is probably just urinating all over the screen right now.
Did you see Luigi?
No, I didn't watch it.
He's a Luigi made out of goo.
Well,
I purposely zoned out during that trailer.
That's a little problematic there.
It is. Absolutely.
Jeff knows all about Gooigi.
Wow. I guess Nintendo should have seen that coming when they created Luigi.
Should have, yeah.
Shouldn't they?
He's the leftovers nobody wanted.
Nintendo does that. I feel like they're winking at us when they do shit like that.
You guys are joking around. That game's going to be one of the greatest games on the Switch when it all comes. I guarantee you. That game will be the next one on the list. The Dark Crystal game, huh? Jeff tried to block us from talking about it, but we won't be stopped.
We won't.
No one put a mark on it, so.
Dirk, you were talking about the movie trailer, right?
The series on.
Is it a series?
Yes.
It's cool. Okay.
Nice. Netflix, which I'm so freaking pumped. It just looks gorgeous. If you haven't watched the trailer for it, just go and be blown away. I mean, it is really a feat of technology, and they're using puppetry, and Jim Henson Studios is involved. I can't speak enough about it. So on top of that, they pulled a badass move and did some product placement and got a game out of it, right. A tactics game on top of that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I'd like to play a tactics game like once every 4 years or something. So if this one comes out, and if this I know nothing about it, I know not who it's made from, if they have good history or whatever the case might be. But if this comes out and it gets good reviews, I'm interested.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. Next on the list, Link's Awakening continues to look weird and good at the same time.
I dig it, man. I dig it.
Right? It's
I like how cute it is.
I know. At first, I'm like, it kind of I don't know, you want to be like, no, it's too cute, and then you're like, no, it looks great, looks really good.
Absolutely.
You know? And then they showed the weird Legend of Zelda maker, the dungeon maker in it. Also, that looked really cool. I thought I was blown away at how many, when they showed it, lay out all the tiles and then walk through it, how unique it looked.
Oh, I didn't even see that. That's awesome.
Yeah. They have it's a make dungeons for your friends kind of program that's built into it. So it looks really cool.
So good.
Yeah, really, really
so
cool.
Good.
I did catch the Dungeon Maker, and that does look really cool.
Yeah, I think it does too. I'm surprised, like, they make the Super Mario Maker. I'm surprised that they didn't do that, make Zelda Maker, like, as a separate product. You know what I mean? It's cool that they threw it into this. And then they showed this, like, weird, like, janky looking branch come in across, like, a field with a few huts in it, and I'm like, what the hell is this? This looks like medieval, like, village or something off in the distance. And then fucking Geralt rides in on Roach, Witcher 3 working on the Switch. Like, that has to be a feat of engineering to get the Witcher 3 working on the Switch.
Are you worried that it's gonna have bugs or anything?
No, I think clearly
so big.
Clearly, when that was my joke about the janky looking branch, is that it doesn't look as nice as it looks on PS4 right now, right? Like they took all the knobs that were up to 11 and turned them down to like 4 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it'll work just fine. And to be honest, I bet you that in handheld mode looks great. You know what I mean? Like I have no problem with them doing that, you know?
But what I've noticed though is, even though there's limited in size on the cartridge for the Switch, they get around that because with Mortal Kombat 11, if you buy the cartridge for the game, once you insert the cartridge, you still have to download like half the game anyways.
Really?
That's how they get around that, is you still download half the game. It's just, it's only, so they could do it that way too.
Right.
Good.
Still, though, you wouldn't think that the processor and whatnot, you know what I mean? Like, the Switch is definitely a step back from the Xbox One and the PS4 right now.
Oh,
so it's a feat that they did it.
Yeah.
Wait, we're missing a game here.
What are we missing?
Wait a second.
What are we missing?
Continue to the next one, and I'll come back with it.
Okay.
No more heroes.
So I was actually as we went through this Nintendo presentation, I was struck by a certain thing. Mm-hmm. You look at No More Heroes 3, Daemon X Machina, Panzer Dragoon, Empire of Sin, Astral Chain. There was this abundance of high quality, off the cup, like, games. Like, to me, like, it harkened to me like back to almost like the early PS2 games when there was all kinds of weird shit coming out. The Mr. Mosquito and fucking Killer 7 and stuff. There was just like this weird like group of games that came out of Japan, and I feel like that's back. You know what I mean?
I hope
like,
so, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, Panzer Dragoon was
on the Xbox.
Sega. I thought it was Sega Saturn when it first came out.
Yeah, it was that.
Because it was like a Sega exclusive back in the day.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, it really that like was one of, as the chips are starting to stack, the chips that say Nate buy a Switch, like those group of games was like a new chip that went on top of it, right? Is like, look at all these like really unique experiences that are high quality big games that are coming to Switch, you know? So I've always been a fan. I love the fact that video games were so big in Japan when we were younger, and that you got those weird all your base are belong to us and all that stuff that's just a part of our culture nowadays. You know what I mean? Like I like that. The more kind of foreign it is, the more I'm kind of drawn to it a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was just happy to see all that stuff. So we don't need to go through each one. I just wanted to. That was my section for like all the weird Japanese games that are coming to Switch.
Yeah.
There, fired up about it. And so that goes right into Dirk. Unless you had your name on a couple of those, I don't know if you wanted to talk about them at all. The Empire Sin, Daemon X Machina.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
All right, so. Then Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Did you guys play the first two?
I did not.
Yeah,
no,
I loved them. it's Diablo with Marvel characters, and to me, the big draw of those games was it was the screen where when you pulled out to like who are you going to pick, there was like 120 Marvel superheroes for you to pick.
Yeah, that's cool. I do like that about it. Yeah.
Every single one, ones that I have never heard of, and I'm certainly not an expert, but I'm also probably more than your average Joe, right?
Yeah.
In my knowledge of Marvel comics, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 looked like more of that. It's that Diablo, go in there and fucking smash on X a million times and take out enemies through a story, but the upgrading and unlocking the characters, like that's a big Switch exclusive for me for sure.
I thought it was a fighting game for some reason.
No, it's not. It's like Diablo. Cool. Or Gauntlet or something like that.
Sure?
It's like over the head, 4 characters walking through.
Yes. I would do that. That's
an
cool.
adventure.
That's cool.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get this, I think.
Yeah.
Really
Is it only on Switch?
Yeah, it's Switch exclusive.
Switch exclusive in July.
Yeah.
I get it.
You can get 2 on the PS4.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yep.
Cool.
And then they close out their show with Breath of the Wild sequel, right? We talked about it earlier in our show. It blew me away.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Right.
You see the 3 I added here?
Yeah, go at them, Dirk.
Dude, Ghostwire Tokyo was, I'm not talking about gameplay, but just in terms of just a pure trailer, was my favorite trailer of E3.
Yeah, nice.
It was creepy. It was the art in it was on a different level. I mean, that shot where they pan out and then you end up in the bowl of ramen.
Right? Yeah. That was awesome. That was really great.
Holy shit.
Yep.
And then it morphs into that woman and the fact that you see all these people on escalators and in a mall of some sort, and it's slowly passing past the wall, and each time it passes, more people disappear and their clothes fall to the ground.
Right. Yeah.
I'm interested. Big
that was
time.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I want in on that. I don't know what kind of game it is, but and then Deathloop. Deathloop looked kind of cool. I mean,
I didn't see Deathloop. I don't think.
I didn't.
I thought the style was great. It was very Grindhouse-ish.
Okay.
I would definitely encourage you guys to watch it. It was an interesting plot where you keep dying. You basically, what it looks like at least, is you have one adversary in the game and you're fighting that adversary over and over again. You both die multiple times, and I think you're trying to kill each other once and for all.
Okay.
And they're both assassins. And it's done in that grindhouse, like vintage sort of, 70s grainy film-ish.
I see that
tone. It looks awesome, dude. That's why I was like, damn, like each of these trailers dropping, I'm like, holy shit. And then Outriders was the last one. I think that's Square Enix.
Is it?
They didn't really describe
it is Square Enix,
much of what was going on, but it looked like this sort of Mad Max theme to it. The colors were really nice in it. I feel like the actress that they used to model in the lead that they keep featuring in the trailer is somebody famous. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the moment from that trailer for me was when that weird like giant thing was in front of it. Right? Yeah. Like that was like a creepier looking War of the Worlds kind of
like
thing.
A red, like reddish and on fire and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they're walking and you see that in the distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like I like the colors in it. It was very desert-ish, Those 3 I totally dug, man. This was one of the better E3s for me.
Yeah.
That I've seen in a while.
When does that come out? Is that soon or
Outriders?
Yeah.
Or Deathloop?
Outriders.
Check it out.
Check it out. So, while you guys are checking it out, we were talking about doing our game of the show. We spoke before the show. We're each going to pick our top 3 for here. I haven't put a ton of thought in it beforehand. How about you fellas?
Are we basing this off of gameplay that we saw, or just trailer?
I think we
personal.
base it off of the impact that the whatever was presented to you this weekend made, right? So up to you how you want to quantify that, right? But what got you the most hype? You know what I mean? If it was something that was just a trailer and you don't even know what the game's like, then so be it. You know what I mean? Or if it's something that you saw that's now your most anticipated game, then great. You know what I mean?
Let's go 3 to 1. Start off alphabetical order. So my number 3 is Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my that's my number 3.
My number 3 would be Blair Witch.
Nice.
Yep, that's for sure. Yeah, how about 2? What do you guys got for 2?
My number 2 is I hope I'm not wrong, but Ghostwire Tokyo.
Nice. Oh, nice, awesome.
I'm really, really excited about that.
Jeff, how about
my number
you?
2 is Star Wars.
Is it?
Order, yeah.
Nice. Mine would be the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's because I'm a diehard fan. Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go with Breath of the Wild sequel. Whatever that is, that would be my number 2 for sure.
Yep.
And number 1.
My number 1, Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mine would be Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
Watching that got me the most hyped afterwards. Like Cyberpunk last year, I feel like was the big year for Cyberpunk for me.
Yeah, that's true.
And this one was good. I'm glad, but go ahead.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the same feeling I got from last, but it's just that I'm so connected to it now that anytime I see it, I'm just like,
Sure.
So
it made such an impression on me last year that seeing it just renewed it with a fervor.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, congratulations, CD Projekt Red. You have received the coveted Game of the Show award from Comically Gaming.
Yeah.
Also, E3 2019.
Final Fantasy VII showed. There you go. Cyberpunk 2077 and Final Fantasy VII showed out.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, definitely.
Congrats.
For sure.
Luigi's Mansion. We'll see.
Luigi's Mansion close third.
303rd.
All right. That's been our E3 2019 spectacular. That was very fun. I hope you guys liked it. If you want to give us a shout out in the comment section, let us know what you think about the games, the trailers that you saw, what you are looking forward to. Yeah. Let us know your game.
Or hit us back up on Twitter too. Don't forget Twitter at GCandC.
That's it.
Totally.
Totes.
Also, you can join our Discord and Facebook.
Our Discord?
You can also grab a show t-shirt or mug.
What about heading over to patreon.com?
Patreon.com, I heard also. You can do stuff there.
The hot happening place to be right now.
Yeah, if you want to support us.
Patreon.com/GCandC.
As little as $1 a month, or $1,000 a month, if you want to do that.
I don't think that's a tier.
You can check that hot written content on the blog that we got. And if you're looking for some merch, grab a show t-shirt, mug, hoodie, sticker, or send me enough money, I'll give you Tony.
I'll give you Tony.
The Games, Comics, and Culture Store at teespring.com. He just bit me when I said that.
Oh.
Yep.
Sweet.
As always, thank you to Fred Thomas for our opening music and Xee Reiter for our logo. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Thank you.
We love you.
So it's going to come out. It's that you can't.
I think, Jeff, what you say when you talk about also.
Uh-oh. So we lost Nate.
We lose Nate.
We lost him.
Look
at him. He's all like, "Arr."
We lost Nate.
We lost Nate. And you dropped. The PC god shocked him.
Dang. That's unfortunate.
I want to keep it in because yes, I did.